welcome to this episode of Dream, Achieve, and Inspire. My name is Joseph Ash, and this is episode 1 of my Legacy Collection. Of all the possible stories and experiences I could share with you, I chose a specific one in episode 1 that truly changed my life. For years as a kid, I had been bothering my parents to join martial arts. I was a pretty active young kid. However, I was small and scrawny and not picked for traditional sports. And when I would watch black belt theater on TV, I always thought to myself, that could be me. Kicking, jumping, flying around, breaking boards, wielding weapons, doing exciting stuff like that. But it wasn't until my 7th birthday that I finally convinced my parents to get me a trial lesson. As a matter of fact, they surprised me with the trial lesson at the age of 7. But we moved, and I had to wait all the way till January. It was January 11th, 1982 that I took my first lessons. I walked through the doors of Bay's Taekwondo Karate Academy in Newport News, Virginia, for class number 1 with Grandmaster Bay, who we always called Sir. There was only one other student in the class that day. His name was Victor, who had already had a green belt. And I remember waiting in the room, green floor, just a shell of a building. Lights were even off, but it was in the daytime, so we could see. And Mr. Bay was sitting in his office. After several minutes of waiting around, he came out with a folding chair, placed it onto the floor, walked over and grabbed a stack of boards, and then he set it up like on the floor, a stack over here, and he put one right across the middle. Then he went back to his chair and sat down, looked at us and said, "Break it." And that was it. Now, me being a white belt, having zero martial art experience, you can imagine what was going through my mind. I mean, I'm only 7. I don't know any moves, and this guy's asking me to break a board. So I look over at Victor, and Victor walks up to the board and gets ready to take a move. I'm thinking he's going to break it and I'm going to learn something, but he really just stomps on it and nothing happens. I'm thinking to myself, wow. Then he takes another attempt with the other leg, and again nothing happens. Then he moves out of the way and looks at me as if it's my turn. And I look at him and I look at Mr. Bay, and I'm thinking to myself, I know they don't think I can break this board. And after an uncomfortable pause, I walked over to the boards myself and said, okay, I'll give it a try. And I stepped on the board too. And guess what? Nothing happened. Then I moved out of the way, and Victor goes, and then I go again, and we go back and forth with what seems like an hour. And I remember thinking to myself, this does not look anything like the movies that I watched on TV. And I'm sitting there thinking, who is he to think that I could break the board when this guy can't break the board? And I started to get really, really frustrated and confused, and all kinds of different emotions just started building up. And at one point in the class, Victor asked permission to go to the restroom. And he went to the restroom. Mr. Bay just gave him a nod. And then he sat there again in silence, not saying anything. I mean, he could have been sleeping with his eyes open for all I know. And so I'm waiting again, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and try to break this board again, I guess. So I go and I step on the board a couple more times, and nothing happens. Meanwhile, more and more energy, more and more frustration, and my thoughts are running crazy in my head. And all of a sudden, I take this big step on the board. I remember just giving it all my might, and it broke. And at that moment in time, everything stopped. I didn't hear anything. I felt like everything was frozen in time. But I do remember Mr. Bay getting up from his chair, walking over to me, kneeling down to my level, looking me straight in the eyes and saying, "You could achieve anything you want in life as long as you never give up." And then he just stood up, walked away, grabbed his chair, and went in the office. That was my first martial arts class. And now 39 years later, I'm still immersed heavily in martial arts. And that lesson stayed with me throughout all this time. And I know for a fact it will continue to stay with me in the future years to come. So when I created this idea, it actually didn't come from just a thought or, dream, achieve, and inspire. It was something that I realized over the course of my life was a pattern. It was a pattern of when I wanted to get a black belt. I had a dream to get a black belt. And then I worked hard and I failed and I faltered at times. But I didn't give up and I achieved that. And I had a dream to be a champion. And again, many times I faltered, but I didn't give up and I achieved that too. And I realized that as I'm working towards these goals and these dreams, that my circle of friends and these people that are around me, the students, my family, everybody was kind of in some way, shape, or form inspired by the process. And so I wanted to create this platform to share with others that, or maybe even document some of the stories and experiences that I've had throughout my life in a way that inspires and also empowers people to take action on their dreams, on their goals. So I created this channel, Dream, Achieve, and Inspire. What I would say is a legacy collection, rather, of experiences, lessons, some good, some bad, but hopefully all in some way inspiring and empowering for you. And I hope you enjoy this collection, and I hope you will share these journey and experiences with me, and also share with me your experiences and journeys along the way, because it inspires and empowers me to continue to pursue my goals and dreams, because I see others doing theirs. Thank you so much for sharing this brief moment of time with me, being a part of this channel, this journey and experience. And I look forward to sharing many more stories with you in the days to come. Between now and then, I wish you all the best. And as it says up here on the wall, enjoy your dreams and inspire others to live theirs.